Well, along with regulators, or lack thereof, where were the regulators? Congress will be taking a very close look at the events leading up to the financial market shakeup today and whether Washington needs to become more involved.
For an idea of what might happen on Capitol Hill, we welcome Congressman Scott Garrett. He is a Republican from New Jersey and a member of the Financial Services Committee. Good to see you again, Congressman. Thanks for coming in.
It's good to be back with
although
you.
Under these circumstances, et cetera.
Yeah.
But the fact is that you have been warning about too much government intervention. Other people are saying about AIG right now, if the government doesn't become involved in AIG to some extent as a backdrop, that could reverberate terribly through the financial system. What do you tell those people?
Well, I'll tell those people that, unfortunately, the government has been sending mixed signals to the market, and that's in some degree, not entirely, set us up for failure at this point in time. Just think for a very brief moment here. You had Bear Stearns occur, and then the Fed said, well, that's it for Bear, that's it, we're not going to do that sort of thing again. And then a short time after that, well, the government was at it again with Fannie and Freddie. And then after Fannie and Freddie, there was knee-jerk optimism, and the government said, well, we're not going to do that again. So you know what was happening with Lehman. During that entire period of time, investors on the sidelines were looking, well, is the government going to step in? Aren't they going to step in? And so they stayed on the back burners, on the back sidelines to the very end, hoping that the government would step in. And who knows whether the Fed or the Treasury will step in the next time, because we get continuously mixed signals here.
Representative, let's distinguish between intervention and regulation. Let's go to regulation for a moment. Obviously, there wasn't enough. You hear people on both sides of the aisle wringing their hands and saying, how could this have happened? Surely you believe that at some point, everything within moderation, but that we needed some type of regulation for mortgage lenders who got us into this disaster in the first place.
Well, for some of the lenders out there, we've had legislation proposals on that for some period of time. And as you know, the proverbial world-class regulator that everyone talked about for so long for Fannie and Freddie never seemed to be able to get through Congress. And you have to scratch your head and ask the question why. And I always suggest the answer to that is follow the money. Look at all the contributions, both directly from the lobbyists for the GSEs and also from their foundations as well, to the various members of Congress to see where that money went. And you'll see why the appropriate regulation never got through until too late. And I'll make one prediction to you, that when Paulson and the other heads of Treasury come up to the committee this week, in the Senate as well, everyone will be asking, pointing the finger at Paulson and saying, well, we counted on you, your assurances that nothing would happen when we gave you this authority. But yet they will be the same members who just back in July gave Paulson all that authority to do exactly what he did.
Yeah. Well, Congressman, are we going to hear calls for a return to the days of Glass-Steagall when there was a very distinct wall between financial institutions like Merrill, like Lehman, et cetera, and the commercial banks?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what would be funny thing about it, or the ironic thing about it, or maybe the sad part about it? Those calls will be coming from the exact same members who basically helped to bring us into this situation right now. Those exact same members who were thwarting any change for appropriate changes in the regulations all through the past 5 years that I've been in Congress, as far as the GSE is concerned. They'll be the same ones and say, you know what, we just need even more regulation, like as opposed to maybe trying to fix the situation.
So will that wall be re-erected between financial and commercial banks?
Well, certainly it's not going to be re-erected in the next 2.5 weeks that we have here in the 110th Congress. There's not going to be any lame duck session as far as I know. Going into the next administration, I hope they take a go slow approach and send appropriate signals to the market after that.
How do we reconcile with the fact that Sarbanes-Oxley, where any CEO who signed off on the books would face prosecution if they weren't telling the truth, and then we had CEO after CEO, quarter after quarter, now we're good, now we're done, we've written off enough and now it's okay. I mean, Dick Fuld and the CFOs, some of who are long gone, Aaron Callan saying just a couple of quarters ago, we expect stabilization and now we are solid and stable.
Yeah, that's truly an excellent question. You have to really question exactly what they were signing off on under Sarbanes-Oxley. But, you know, the whole question on SOX was, did it go too far in certain areas as far as putting some of those criminal penalties, at least the threat of those out there, to basically create this situation where we have right now, where maybe the better situation to be in is not a publicly traded company. A private company actually would not be in some of these situations. Why? Because so much of the market is going back and forth right now by the fear factor that's out there, this uncertainty that's out there. So Sarbanes-Oxley, for all that good that it did, may have exacerbated some of these problems. But your question is really an excellent one.
Congressman Scott Garrett, great to see you again, Congressman. Please come back and see us.
Thank you.
Well, the White House also weighing in on the events unfolding in Wall Street.
We will have that and much more on this historic day in the financial world coming up next here on Fox Business.
What's on the minds of independent investors? Let's ask. When you're trading a stock, every penny counts.
I hate when the trade is done and you find out